Ladies and gentlemen, imagine driving your car straight into a lake, on purpose. Sounds like a bad dream, right? Well, in the 1960s, someone decided that wasn't just possible, it was a good idea. Meet the Amphicar 770, the world's first mass-produced amphibious car, and maybe the most gloriously impractical vehicle ever built. The Amphicar Model 770 was introduced in 1961, built in West Germany and marketed as the ultimate solution for people who couldn't decide whether they loved cars or boats more. Its name, 770, wasn't some mysterious code. It simply meant it could hit 7 miles per hour on water and 70 miles per hour on land. Spoiler alert, it wasn't particularly good at either. The brain behind this machine was Hans Trippel, a German designer who had a lifelong fascination with amphibious vehicles. He believed the world was ready for a car that could tackle both highways and rivers with equal grace. The problem? The Amphicars never quite achieved that grace part. On land, it was powered by a tiny 1.2-liter four-cylinder engine borrowed from the Triumph Herald, producing just 43 horsepower. That's right, 43, which meant that even before you hit the water, you were already losing drag races to lawnmowers. And on water? Well, let's just say the word boat might be a little generous. With twin rear propellers, it could cruise at a whopping 7 knots. But steering wasn't done with a rudder. Oh no, instead you turned the actual front wheels underwater. Imagine trying to paddle a canoe by wiggling your feet in the water. That's about how effective it was. But here's the kicker. Despite all of this, the Amphicar wasn't some obscure curiosity. About 3,800 of them were built, and they were actually sold in the United States, where they found a strange cult-like following. President Lyndon B famously owned one and loved to prank guests at his Texas ranch by driving straight into the lake, pretending the brakes had failed. One could only imagine the sheer terror of his passengers before realizing they weren't about to drown in a presidential death trap. Now, let's talk about practicality, or the lack of it. To go from road to water, you had to seal the doors with rubber gaskets and flip a special switch to engage the propellers. And yes, the doors often leaked. Owners quickly learned to carry towels just in case their seamless transition from car to boat turned into accidental swimming lesson. Maintenance was another nightmare. You had to grease 13 different points every 100 hours of operation. 13! That's more upkeep than some airplanes. And yet, for all its flaws, the Amphicar has a charm that's hard to deny. It wasn't about perfection, it was about possibility. It was the 1960s distilled into sheet metal and fiberglass. Bold, experimental, and just a little bit reckless. The kind of car that whispered, "What if?" before promptly sputtering to 7 miles per hour in a lake. By 1968, stricter safety and environmental regulations in the U.S. effectively killed production. The Amphicar quietly floated into history, remembered more as a punchline than a revolution. But here's the twist. Today, surviving Amphicars are highly collectible. Restored examples often sell for over $100,000, proof that even the weirdest ideas can find love decades later. So let's recap. The Amphicar 770 was a car that wasn't great on land, a boat that wasn't great on water, and yet somehow managed to be one of the most beloved oddities in automotive history. It may not have been perfect, but it was unforgettable. And honestly, isn't that what legends are made of? If you enjoyed this deep dive into the strangest car-boat hybrid ever made, hit that subscribe button for more bizarre, brilliant, and downright crazy vehicles from history. Because trust me, this is just the beginning.